What's up, guys? Crypto Muser here with your daily news and analysis in the crypto markets. Now, last night about 7 p.m. Eastern Time, Crypto Law US, John Deaton, XRP community member, attorney, put out a video last night, which was very informative. I implore any people that want to get more up to date, and the facts and everything going on in the SEC vs. Ripple lawsuit, definitely check it out on Crypto Law Twitter and on Crypto Law YouTube channel. John Deaton has Jeremy Hogan, an attorney, J.W. Verrett, who is also a securities specialist attorney, also was an analyst for the SEC for many years, worked on the last administration for I think 4 years within the SEC. Also there, Eleanor Tourette, Fox Business reporter, and also Jason Foster, the president and CEO of Empower Oversight, the government oversight nonprofit that has been looking into via FOIA requests to the SEC on the conflicts of interest from Bill Hinman, Jay Clayton, and everything going on within the SEC during the Hinman speech and even during Gary Gensler's administration here. Very informative, gives you up to date and everything going on in the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit. Also gives you that attorney point of view, where most of us obviously aren't attorneys, or we're not lawyers. We don't know the whole legal jargon of everything. So it's great to hear attorneys out there give us the ins and outs of this case in basic terms, right? So I definitely, like I said, implore you guys to check it out. It was last night at 7 p.m. It's about, an hour and a half, 2 hours long. Great interview. So definitely check that out. I just want to throw that out there before we started the video. But before I do, if you guys could please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below, it'd be very much appreciated. But let's get right into it. So along those same lines, Digital Perspectives put out a little snippet. It was about, I think it's like a 3-minute snippet of what happened in that, or just a quick, let's see this here. Hold on. It's just 2 minutes and 21 minutes. So we'll just go through it real quick. This is an important part of that interview I talked about in the beginning of the video here. And just want to show you, because Digital Perspectives tweeted this out. What an incredible conversation with John Deaton, attorney Jeremy Hogan, J.W. Verrett, Eleanor Tourette, Jason Foster on the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit. Jeremy Hogan and J.W. Verrett discuss Hinman's speech, ulterior motives, not complying with ethics department, etc. Just want you to know, if you hear some crazy noise in the background, my dryer downstairs makes some crazy noises. So just give you a heads up real quick. But let's listen to this real quick 2.5 minute snippet just to give you guys an idea what's in this interview.
On this speech, instead of giving this speech, why didn't they just adopt that safe harbor where it said you have 3 to 5 years to meet these markers? And hey, Ripple, if you don't meet these markers, or ETH, you don't meet these markers, then you have to register. If you do, it is, great. And you go on and you're sufficiently decentralized, or whatever language. Why was that not adopted under Chairman Clayton? He had the votes. He had Elad Roisman and he had Hester Peirce. I don't know. Do you know the answer to that question?
I got to pass that one to JW. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I think you're going to talk more about this later, but, obviously I think that it's come to be that we know now that Mr. Hinman probably had some ulterior motives for that speech, maybe jumped the gun and didn't have the backing that maybe he needed in order to really get the commissioner's views out there. But I don't know.
JW, any thoughts? I know you have a hard stop soon.
Sure. I know Jay a long time. I disagreed with him on his approach to crypto. Believe me, I had a lot of private conversations with him during the ICO era where I said, I don't like some things happening in some of these ICOs. I'd love to get a crypto-specific regulatory regime. Hester's safe harbor hadn't been out yet. I wish it had. I would have been arguing for that. But I had a lot of tough conversations with him because it was the one area where I just glaringly disagreed with him. I don't know Hinman. I don't know what Hinman was about, so I can't tell you that. I think Jay's heart was in the right place. I don't think he had any nefarious intent. I think he was just risk averse. It was a new thing, and he was a classic regulation guy, and he didn't want to try anything new. And it was a mistake, and it was the wrong decision. I don't think there was anything unethical about him. I just don't know Bill. I mean, I don't like the optics of what happened here. What I've seen so far from when Power has taken out, it seemed like he didn't comply with the ethics requirements, and that's a problem. I don't think that's on Jay. I think that's on Bill. I don't know why. I don't know why he didn't do more. Give us the guidance and the clarity that we need. I wish they had.
Well, listen, I thank you both, JW and Jeremy, for sharing your thoughts.
So, I mean, basically, the funny thing about all this is that when Jay Clayton was the head of the SEC before this administration, he had there's 5 commissioners within the SEC, right? So there was 3 Republicans and 2 Democrats. So it's funny that the other two Republicans, Republican commissioners, wanted Hester Peirce's safe harbor regulation, where it was basically you have 3 years, I believe, 3 to 5 years to be enough decentralized enough to be a non-security. And if you had it in that 3 to 5 years, you got to come and register with the SEC. And that was a perfect way to go about regulating the space, because you can't use the Howey test, which is it was 1940 something that this test came out. They weren't thinking about digital assets, obviously, when they were coming up with the Howey test. So it was a perfect idea that Hester Peirce had, and they had the votes, right? There were 3 Republicans that they could vote on and pass that safe harbor proposal, but they chose not to. Why is that? Chair Jay Clayton decided to go with the Democrats, which is crazy. Usually in not politics, but in politics, I mean, they usually go with their own side, right? And it was very weird that he kind of went with the Democrats there and decided to come up with this lawsuit the last day. And he had a meeting with Gary Gensler, which is even more shady, 2 days or even a day before he left the SEC. So he knew what he was doing. He was passing this Ripple lawsuit on to Gary Gensler, and Gary Gensler was okaying it because he saw this as a huge win for him. If you could take down Ripple in the first couple months of his administration, it would be a big win for him. And we all know how he works. He wants to be the Treasury Secretary, so we thought it was all about him. He'd get a big settlement after a couple months, and it was all about Gary Gensler, right? But obviously we know now, a year and a half later, Ripple, and even Brad Garlinghouse mentioned in an interview a couple days ago that when this is said and done, Ripple's going to spend about or even more than $100 million in legal fees on this case. So, I mean, I don't think that the SEC thought they were going to put that much money in legal money against the SEC. I think that the SEC thought that like any other company or person or whatever they come after, usually they settle with the SEC right away because they know the SEC can just drag it out and cost them money or put them out of business. But Ripple was like, oh, you want to put it that way? Let's go. They basically said, I'll drag. You want to drag this on as long as you want. We'll go along with it because we know we're going to win this case. So back to what they were saying, we don't know why Jay Clayton decided to go against the other 2 Republicans, but that's why we want an investigation, right? These questions need to be answered. And with him, and obviously we know there was conflicts of interest, even criminal conflicts there. So an investigation would, like John Deaton and many have said, if there was no real criminal activity that happened, then have an investigation and prove it, right? It's like the big thing that they talked about in this interview was, even if there wasn't any wrongdoings or corruption, it still looks like that the optics are bad, right? And when the optics are this bad, then the SEC is looked upon as this corrupt agency that no one trusts anymore. So it would be more beneficial to the SEC to have an investigation to prove that they didn't do this, right? So it's like, if they don't have an investigation, it just makes the SEC look bad, even if they didn't, even if there wasn't any wrongdoings or corruption. So it's like it would benefit both parties to have an investigation, put the facts on out there for everybody to see, and to see if there were actual criminal activity involved, right? So that's that, but definitely look at that. Like I said, check out this interview. That was just a snippet that I wanted to show you guys. But next, a couple briefs came out in the SEC vs. Ripple lawsuit this past couple days, and this was yesterday, I believe. So if you hear these planes too, I live right across from Logan Airport in Boston, so The planes like to fly over my house sometimes too, so I'm getting all types of noises in the background here. But just bear with me. So this brief came out, I believe, yesterday. The SEC filed its request to seal its response to the Amici motion to participate in the Daubert challenge. The SEC claims that while some information the SEC seeks to seal has already been publicized by Movent's counsel John Deaton, the SEC seeks to seal this and other material to prevent further threats and harassment of the SEC's expert. The SEC further states that expert witnesses understand that their opinions may be challenged by the opposing party and may even expect public challenges to their opinions in high-profile cases. But no expert witness should expect to be subjected to a campaign of humiliation, harassment, or threats simply agreeing to act as an expert witness for the SEC. Now, when I read this, I was like, oh, poor SEC. They put up an expert. So this is all about, they put out this expert witness, so-called expert witness, that is supposed to speak on behalf of XRP holders and what they were thinking when they were buying XRP. And John Deaton represents, obviously, 67,000 plus XRP investors. Who's to say that this guy knows the motives of all these XRP purchasers, right? And if there was any place in this case where John Deaton should have his voice heard, it would be this, right? Because, I mean, he should be able to challenge this expert witness, right? So when he put out a letter to the court saying that he wanted to, see this expert witness's testimony and then come up with his own response to it, the SEC came back to him and said, well, the SEC's expert witness has been threatened and harassed by XRP holders or even John Deaton, and this is why we shouldn't allow him to basically come in this part of the case. And it's like, okay, so who's to say that anybody or one person came out and maybe, put out a bad tweet against this expert witness or something, but they show no example. So like they could even be lying, right? So it's like, you're telling me we're supposed to feel bad, and we just, in the last couple of weeks, we found out information on this expert witness. So that he was getting paid, or the law firm that he works for is getting paid millions of dollars by the SEC. I mean, yes, he's a paid witness because that's what witnesses get paid to put out these testimonies for the SEC, and then the Ripple will pay their expert to come up with their testimony. But his law firm was getting paid millions of dollars, right? They might get paid a couple $1,000s to give their testimony, but their law firm that this guy's working for was getting paid millions by the SEC. Is that a conflict of interest? Yes, it is. So we called that out. Now, is that us threatening or harassing this witness? No, it's calling them out for, we can't trust this testimony of this guy, especially when he's supposed to be speaking on behalf of XRP holders. So this is just nonsense to me. We're supposed to feel bad for this, for the SEC. And I even tweeted out in response to this, the SEC needs to be eradicated. They harm innocent Americans and expect us to care about their corrupt expert witnesses. 100% sure no one threatened to harass this witness. More lies by the SEC. And, that's my opinion, but I mean, the SEC doesn't give us any reasons to respect what they do. So yes, they're probably being shady, trying just to say this, just to have the court, not let John Deaton into this part of the case. But hopefully the judge will see right through this and allow John Deaton and the 67,000 plus XRP holders to be heard. And I'm one of those, by the way, full disclosure, I'm one of those 67,000 plus XRP holders signed onto this case. So John Deaton, I guess, is my attorney. So moving on. So the other brief that came out in this case, this was along the more important part of the case where the Hinman emails, right? They had a in-house conference, I think it was last week, where the judge basically let the SEC argue the case on the attorney-client privilege argument, and she basically made her, I think if you remember my video, or if you've been following this case, she made herself look, the SEC attorney made herself look very stupid. She sounded like she was unprepared. She kept just talking in circles, and it looked real bad. It sounded really bad. I actually called in and listened to the whole thing, and it was like, I felt bad for her. That's how bad it was. But anyway, we were waiting for a response from the judge to basically tell the SEC to hand over these emails and documents on the Hinman speech. Well, this order came out by the judge. She's asking for another 10 documents. So she already saw 10 out of the 63 or so documents and emails with the Hinman speech. But obviously those were handpicked by the SEC, so they probably were the least important documents out of all the 63 or plus documents. So she's asking for another 10 for an in-camera review, which is basically her to look at the documents herself. And so the court orders the SEC to provide the court by June 16th 10 additional documents for an in-camera review to assist the court with its decision regarding the SEC's claims of attorney-client privilege in connection with the Hinman speech. Now, James continues, for your information below is attachment. Okay, if you want to read it. Hold on a second. So Moon Lambo tweeted in response, if I'm reading this right, the judge isn't demanding for all the related documents. Why just another 10 additional documents? If there are any documents related to XRP, no doubt the SEC will hold those back. That's what I was thinking when I first read this. I mean, yes, it's another 10, so they're going to have to go through the remaining documents and try to pick the less incriminating. And it'll be tougher, but they'll obviously won't show the most incriminating documents, right? So then someone replied to Moon Lambo and said, Moon Lambo, you're 2 steps ahead. Judge Netburn will be forcing the SEC to turn over the emails. That will come after the 16th, Friday perhaps. She is letting them put all their cards on the table and their attorney-client privilege claim, and then she'll shoot it down like a duck in hunting season. So we're hoping that's the case, right? I don't see I believe that Judge Netburn is just basically solidifying her case when she does come down and say, the SEC need to hand these over, because even the SEC said ahead of time that if the judge orders them to hand over the documents, they will appeal that order. So I think she's just being very thorough and solidifying her decision so that when it comes to an appeal by the SEC, it'll be a lot tougher for that appeal to be brought through the Second Circuit and to Judge Torres. So like I said, I think just Judge Netburn is being thorough, and I think that's most people's opinion on the matter. But just want to show you guys what did I just do? So just want to show you guys that those 2 briefs that we got, I think it was yesterday and today, or maybe both yesterday, but keeping you up to date, obviously, on what's going on. And obviously we'll have probably Judge Netburn will come out with a decision, I think, by sometime next week. So moving on to the next subject of importance in the crypto markets. Obviously, we know that markets are in turmoil right now. We saw Bitcoin finally hit almost 20,000 this morning. So why is this happening, right? I think that most people, and I read a lot this morning, is that there's a lot of liquidations in the DeFi space, right? We saw what happened in Celsius. I think it was called 3 Arrows, I believe. I believe it's I forget where it's maybe in Korea or Singapore. I forget where 3 Arrows. The country is escaping me, but there's a lot of liquidations in ETH and Bitcoin happening through like staked ETH and lending products, right? So you're seeing Ethereum and Bitcoin actually falling faster than most altcoins, which is very, we usually don't see that. Usually you see, if Bitcoin falls 3%, the rest of the altcoins will fall much, 6 to 10%, right? This time around, I think most have noticed, and I definitely noticed this, was you saw Bitcoin and Ethereum actually at the highest percentage drops than all the other top 20 cryptos. So it's very weird to see that, and you're even seeing Ethereum dominance and Bitcoin dominance falling. So very interesting to see that. I mean, if there's going to be a rebound in the next couple of weeks or so, if the ETH and Bitcoin dominance keep falling like that, that would give the altcoins more room to have a nice bounce. So just something to think about there, because it was very abnormal to see that Bitcoin and Ethereum were dropping much further than most altcoins. But moving on, so this is Brian Armstrong. If you obviously been following this drop, you've been noticing that a lot of crypto companies are saying that they're now going to lay off a lot of employees. So Brian Armstrong said, "Today I shared that I've been made the difficult decision to reduce the size of our team at Coinbase by almost 18%. So, I mean, tough to see, right? And also, John Deaton tweeted this out. I do see why Ripple is disliked by many of the industry players. BlockFi is laying off 20% of its employees. Coinbase is laying off 18% of its employees. Ripple plans to hire 300 plus people in the next 12 to 18 months while spending $100 million plus in legal fees while fighting the SEC lawsuit. I mean, could there be a mic drop right there? I mean, it just goes to show you that Ripple, and even I'm going to show you this tweet by Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple, in a second. They were ready for this bear market, right? They've been around for long enough to know that, after a bull market comes a very harsh and long crypto winter. And especially with everything going on, we had much more adoption for sure this time around. But we're seeing, like I was just saying, we're seeing from these lending products and DeFi products, we're seeing a lot of liquidation, right? And we're seeing a lot of companies go solvent. We saw what happened to Luna and Terra, now Celsius. I wouldn't expect to see more of this happening in the next couple of weeks to months. So Ripple has weathered the storm, obviously, because they're not firing, they're hiring at the magnitude of 300 plus people in the next 12 to 18 months. So you got to give it to Ripple. I mean, they were ready for this, right? And let's just read Brad Garlinghouse's tweet real quick. This was yesterday. Days like today are never what you hope to see, especially in an industry with as much incredible talent as crypto. If you recently joined the industry and haven't seen a downturn like this, know that this too shall pass. Advice from someone who's seen a few downturns over the couple of years. I mean, I've been around here, guys, since early 2018. Trust me, this is crypto, right? The last bear market, everybody said that Bitcoin and crypto was dead, right? Every bear market, they say crypto's dead. So trust me when I say this too shall pass, right? So continuing on, it's never easy, but there are a few key reasons why Ripple has weathered the cyclical bear markets, as we will be here to continue growing. Having an experienced executive team that has been through a dot-com bubble, 2008 financial crisis, 2018 crypto winter, and more. Focusing on the long term, Ripple has been building enterprise products with long-term utility, not speculation. These are products that solve problems today. Let's read that again. These are problems that solve problems today, not ones in search of a problem. For your information, Q2 ODL volume well over 1 billion already surpassed its target 3 weeks before end of quarter. Operating with transparency as a holder of XRP, we believe communication and transparency, including our quarterly markets reports, are key to being a responsible stakeholder. We've been asking for regulatory clarity for years and been upfront with everything that isn't or is working. Paying attention. What's happening now is a small market gyration. We've been preparing for this with a significant cash balance and thus can afford to keep hiring the best talent with the goal of 50% outside the US. And he finishes up, the market is likely going to shrink in the near term, but I and many others have every ounce of confidence that crypto will succeed in the future as an integral part of the global financial systems. Slow and steady wins the race. Now, it's just great to hear, a CEO of a crypto company like Ripple come on and say something like that, because you're not hearing that from any other company, right? I just showed you what Brian Armstrong, Coinbase said. Obviously, BlockFi, seeing what's happening with Celsius. Especially with exchanges, I'm sure you're going to see, FTX, Crypto.com. They're definitely going to start laying off more employees, and that's not just in the crypto market. It's going to be, if we're seeing a recession in the next couple months, you're going to see layoffs across the board in every sector, right? You're going to see layoffs everywhere, right? You're going to see houses, the real estate market drop. You're going to see retail. You're going to see, huge liquidation sales all summer. Obviously, with the inflation and the recession scares, I think I saw recently that the unemployment rate was at 3.6%. So there's too many jobs, right? But as inflation rises, you're going to see more and more layoffs. So those unemployment rates will actually go back up. So very scary times, obviously, out there, guys. But remember, This too shall pass, what Brad Garlinghouse said here. And if you have been in this market long enough, you know that bear markets is what make, where you can make the real money, right? Financial freedom and generational wealth can be made in these bear markets. So stay patient. And I'll leave you with this quick tweet from Lark Davis that I thought was very important for most people out there that are new in the space. During the next bull run, when everything is going to new highs, just remember that you earned those gains with sweat, blood, and tears. It wasn't dumb luck. This bear market will create the next class of crypto millionaires. You will be one of them. So I'll just leave you with that one, guys. Stay strong, be patient, and know I got your back, right? So please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Remember, I am not a financial advisor. This is not, do not take anything I write as financial advice. This is for educational purposes only. And thanks, guys, and we'll see you on the next one. And I just want to say real quick, I'm heading out to Italy tonight. So the next video I put out, I'll try to do something fun out there. I'll be in Italy for the next month. So next video you'll see me, I will be in Italy. So thanks, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.